Man, it's nice to see this lodge is full. Y'all come on back on Thursday night when they have a meeting. We can have a good crowd again up here. This is nice to have a good crowd. Well, it's an honor to be here with you on a beautiful Sabbath day to install the officers of Dallas Lodge number 182. And I know Tim and the officers appreciate your attendance here today. And without further ado, we shall proceed to install. Brother Marshall, have you carefully examined the master-elect, and do you find him well skilled in noble science and royal art?
Most worshipful Grand Master, I have carefully examined him and so find him.
You will present him at the altar for installation.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present my worthy brother, Timothy Adair, who has been elected as master of this lodge. I find him of good morals and great skill, true and trusting. And as he is a lover of fraternity, I doubt not he will discharge his duties with fidelity and with honor.
Brethren, you now behold Brother Timothy Adair, who has been elected master of this lodge and now presents himself for installation. If any of you have any reason or cause why he should not be installed, you will make them known now or forever hereafter hold your peace. Hearing no objections, we shall proceed to install him. Brother Marshall, you will present the master at the altar to receive the benefit of prayer and to take his official obligation. And you will find the installing chaplain and
let us pray. Dear kind and gracious Heavenly Father, to call upon thy name again today, Lord, we thank you for the many blessings of life. We thank you for letting us to gather here today, Lord, and witness Brother Tim's installation, Lord. Lord, we pray for Brother Tim that you'll give him the wisdom of Solomon and the patience of Job as he goes throughout the year, Lord, that you'll put your hand on him, Lord, and lead, guide, and direct him in every way that he needs to go, Lord. We pray that he'll seek your guidance with everything that he does, Lord. Lord, bless him and look over his household, Lord. Lord, let his officers follow after him, Lord, and be of good service. Because we know today, Lord, that service is one of the things we ought to hold dearest in our lives, that we have the opportunity to serve you in all capacities in every place we are in life, Lord. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen.
Glory be. Brother Tim, you will now repeat after me your official obligation. I solemnly promise upon the honor of a Mason.
I solemnly promise upon the honor of a Mason
that in the office of Master of Dallas Lodge number 182,
that in the office of Master of Dallas Lodge number 182,
I will, to the best of my ability, strictly comply with the constitutions and regulations of the most worshipful Grand Lodge of the state of Georgia, and to the bylaws of Dallas Lodge number 182, and all other ancient Masonic usages, so far as the same shall come to my knowledge. You may be seated. Brother Tim, previous to your investiture, it is necessary that you should signify your assent to those ancient charges and regulations which point out the duty of the master of the lodge. And I will require an answer in the affirmative on each of these questions. You agree to be a good man and true and to strictly obey the moral law?
I do.
You agree to be a peaceful citizen and cheerfully to conform to the laws of the country in which you reside?
I do.
You promise not to be concerned in plots and conspiracies against the government, but patiently to submit to the laws and constituted authorities?
I do.
You agree to pay proper respect to the civil magistrates, to work diligently, live credibly, and act honorably by all men?
I do.
You agreed to hold in veneration the original rulers and patrons of the Order of Masonry, and their regular successors, supreme and subordinate, according to their stations, and to submit to the awards and resolutions of your brethren in lodge convened, in every case consistent with the constitutions of the order.
I do.
You agree to avoid private picks and quarrels, and to guard against intemperance and excess.
I do.
You agree to be cautious in your behavior, courteous to your brethren, and faithful to your lodge.
I do.
You promise to respect genuine brethren and to discourage impostors and all dissenters from the original plan of Masonry.
I do.
You agree to promote the general good of society, to cultivate the social virtues, and propagate the knowledge of the mystic art.
I do.
You promise to pay homage to the Grand Master for the time being, and to his officers when duly installed, and strictly to conform to every edict of the Grand Lodge or General Assembly of Masons that is not subversive of the principles and groundwork of Masonry.
I do.
You admit that it is not in the power of any man or body of men to make innovations in the body of Masonry.
I do.
You promise a regular attendance on the committees and communications of the Grand Lodge on receiving proper notice, and to pay attention to all duties of Masonry on convenient occasions.
I do.
You admit that no new lodge can be formed without permission of the Grand Lodge, and no countenance to be given to any irregular lodge or to any person clandestinely initiated therein, being contrary to the ancient charges of the order.
I do.
You admit that no person can be regularly made a Mason or admitted a member of any regular lodge without previous notice and due inquiry into his character.
I do.
You agree that no visitors shall be received into your lodge without due examination and producing proper vouchers of their having been initiated into a regular lodge.
I do.
So far, so good. Brother Tim, these are the regulations of free and accepted Masons. Do you submit to these charges and promise to support these regulations as masters have done in all ages before you?
I do.
With your hands on that holy Bible, you have said loud and clear for all to hear, I do. Now you have the obligation to do just that. The perfect and ideal master has yet to be installed. However, high ideals of service to one's lodge and brethren should be the goal of every worshipful master. Pleased and reasonably content should be the master who at the end of his term stands in the east for the last time, looking towards the west and the setting sun, knowing that he is given the best within him. The worshipful master of the lodge is not only its leader, but its greatest servant. And as such, you should endeavor to actually serve, not for yourself or for the sake of honor or glory, but for your lodge, your brethren, first, last, and always. Brother Tim, in consequence of your conformity to these charges and regulations, you are now to be installed master of this lodge in full confidence of your care, skill, and capacity to govern the same. Arise, my brother. Brother Marshal, you will invest the worshipful master with the apron and badge of his office. Nice of you there, Brother Marshall. Worshipful Master, the holy writings, the great light of Freemasonry, will guide you to all truth and will direct your paths to the temple of happiness and point out to you the whole duty of man. The square, the teaches us to regulate our actions by rule and line, and to harmonize our conduct by the principles of morality and virtue. The compasses teaches us to limit our desires in every station, that rising to eminence by merit, we may live respected and die regretted. The rule directs it that we should punctually observe our duty, press forward in the path of virtue, and neither inclining to the right nor to the left, in all our actions have an eternity in view. The line teaches us the criterion of moral rectitude, to avoid assimilation in conversation and action, and to direct our steps to the path which leads to immortality. The book of Constitution, you should read at all times, and cause it to be read in your lodge, that none may pretend ignorance of the excellent precepts it enjoins. You will now receive in charge of the charter, which by its authority this lodge is held. You are to carefully preserve it, and at no time should it ever be out of your immediate control. And you will see it duly transmitted to your successor in office. You will also receive a copy of the bylaws of your lodge, which you are to see carefully and punctually executed. Brother Marshal, you will present the master to the east.
Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road.
Worship Master, I present you with the gavel and invite you to seat the brethren and to finish installing your officers.
Most worshipful Brother James, you've done a great job so far today. I'd like to ask you to continue to install my office if you don't mind.
Okay. All right. I always feel confident when the worshipful master doesn't bite on that. If he's smart enough to hand me back that gavel, he's going to be a good master of his life. Worshipful Master, behold your brethren. Brethren, behold your worshipful master, and join me in public grand honors. All right. Now you may be seated, worshipful master. And I'll take your case later. Now, Brother Marshall, would you present that senior warden west of the Holy Altar?
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present to you Garrett Gurley, who's been elected senior warden of this lodge for the ensuing year.
Brother Gurley, you have been elected senior warden and now will be invested with the insignia of your office. Brother Garrett, the emblem of your office is the ancient level. The level demonstrates that we are descended from the same stock, partake of the same nature, and share the same hope. And though distinctions among men are necessary to preserve subordination, yet no eminence of station should make us forget that we are brethren. For he who is placed on the lowest spoke of fortune's wheel may be entitled to our regard. Because the time will come, and the wisest know not how soon, when all distinctions but that of goodness shall cease, and death, the grand leveler of human greatness, reduce us to the same state. Your regular attendance at the lodge is essentially necessary. In the absence of the master, you are to govern it. and in his presence you are to assist him in the government of it. I firmly rely on your knowledge of masonry and attachment to this lodge for the faithful discharge of the duties of this important trust. Well to the west. Well, Marshal, you'll present the junior warden west of the Holy Altar.
First Grand Master, I present to you Jared Simpson, who has been elected junior warden of this lodge for the ensuing year.
Well, Simpson, you've been elected junior warden, just as the marshal said, and now will be invested with the badge of your office. Brother Simpson, the badge of your office is the ancient plum. The plum admonishes us to walk uprightly in our several stations, to hold the scales of justice in equal poise, and to observe the just medium between temperance and pleasure, and to make our passions and prejudices coincide with the line of our duty. To you is committed the superintendent of the craft during the hours of refreshment. It is therefore indispensably necessary that you should not only be temperate and discreet in the indulgence of your own inclinations, but to see that none convert the hours of refreshment into intemperance or excess. Your regular and punctual attendance is particularly requested, and I have no doubt that you will faithfully execute the duty which you owe to your present appointment. Look well to the south. No treasurer, no secretary, correct?
Correct.
Chaplain, you, for the marshal, will present the chaplain.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present Brother Ricky Watson, who has been appointed chaplain of this lodge.
Brother Watson, you are appointed chaplain of this lodge and are now to be invested with the badge of your office. It is your duty to perform those solemn services which we should constantly render to our infinite Creator, and which, when offered by one whose holy profession is to point to heaven and lead the way, may, by refining our souls, strengthening our virtues, and purifying our minds, prepare us for admission into the society of those above, whose happiness will be as endless as it is perfect. The marshal, show him to his station. The marshal will present the senior and junior deacon.
Worshipful Grand Master, I present you Brother Rollins and Vinnacombe, who has been appointed deacons of this lodge.
Brethren, you have been appointed deacons of this lodge and will now be invested with the badge of your office. senior deacon, it is your duty to welcome and provide for the examination of visiting brethren. To carry all messages from the worshipful master to the senior warden and elsewhere as you may be directed. To attend at the holy altar, to attend alarms at the inner door, and to receive and conduct candidates. For the junior deacon, it is your duty to see that the lodge is duly tiled, to attend alarms at the outer door, to carry all messages from the senior warden to the worshipful master, and elsewhere as you may be directed. Brethren, the square and compasses as badges of your office I entrust to your care, not doubting your vigilance and attention. The marshal, you will show them to their station. Marshal, you will present the stewards what's the holy altar.
Grandmaster, I present to you almost a law firm. Cole, Sams, and Butterworth, who have been appointed stewards of this lodge.
Brethren, you have been appointed stewards of this lodge and will now be vested with the badge of your office. Yes, he lined them up according to station and not by height. Brethren, it is your duty to quote the holy altar, and I hope you get a chance to do that before your term is up. To introduce candidates into the lodge, in the preparation of candidates and to introduce them into the lodge, and to assist the junior warden in the duties of his office. Your regular and early attendance at the meetings will afford the best proof of your zeal and attachment to this lodge. For the marshal, you will show them to their stations. Marshal, you will present the title to the holy altar. Normally you don't get to install the title very often. That's like the Secretary of Treasury or a lot of lodges, or they stay year after year. So I don't get to do the installation of the title very often, but I want you to listen carefully. There's some beautiful language, Masonic language, in this installation for the Marshal.
Of course, Grandmaster, I present to you Brother Charles Mabery, who has been reappointed title of this lodge.
You Mabery have been appointed pilot of this lodge and will now be invested with the badge of your office. As the sword is placed in the hands of the tyrant to enable him effectively to keep off all cowards and eavesdroppers, and to see that none enter unless duly qualified and having the permission of the worshipful master. So it should admonish us to set a guard over our thoughts, a watch at our lips, a sentinel over our actions, thereby preventing the approach of every unworthy thought or deed, and preserving consciousness void of offense towards God and towards man. Your early and punctual attendance will afford the best proof of your zeal for the institution. For the marshal, you will find a spot for the Tyler. Brethren, ladies, this is the charge to the brethren of this lodge. Such is the nature of our Constitution, that as some must of necessity rule and teach, so others must, of course, learn to submit and obey. Humility in both is an essential duty. The officers who are appointed to govern your lodge are sufficiently conversant with the rules of propriety and the laws of the institution to avoid exceeding the powers with they have been entrusted. And you are of too generous disposition to envy their preferment. I therefore trust that you will have but one aim, to please each other and unite in the grand designs of being happy and communicating happiness. Finally, my brethren, as this association has been formed and perfected in so much unanimity and concord, in which we greatly rejoice, so may it long continue. May you long enjoy every satisfaction and delight that this interested friendship can afford. May kindness and brotherly affection distinguish your conduct as men and as Masons. Within your peaceful walls, may your children's children celebrate with joy and gratitude the annual reoccurrence of this auspicious solemnity. And may the tenets of our profession be transmitted through this lodge, pure and unimpaired from generation to generation. For the marshal, you will make the proclamation.
In the name of the most worshipful Grand Lodge of the state of Georgia, I proclaim that the officers of Dallas Lodge, number 182, have been installed in ample and sufficient form. This proclamation I make once, twice, thrice. In the south, in the west, and in the east.
Thank you. Worshipful Master, I assume this is going to be your hat for the year.
Yes, sir.
I congratulate you on your choice of hats. It's very nice. Worshipful Master is King Solomon wore a crown as an royal dignity. So as a mark of distinction and agreeable to an ancient custom, you are to be covered in presiding over your lodge. I present you with the gavel. This is an emblem of power and of your authority. Use it wisely and justly, never in the cause of oppression or injustice. You may seat the brethren of the lodge. Knowing that you will do a good job, I want to pay you your wages with the Grand Master's coin for the man that sits in the east the same year as I sit in the east in the Grand Lodge. Now, I invite you to assume the symbolic chair, Oriental chair of King Solomon. And thank you very much for the opportunity to install you and your officers. Good luck. God bless.
Thank you, most worshipful Grand Master. Wow, well, this is a red letter day for me, and I know for my officers too. I'd like to thank you all for coming out today. It's very good to see a crowd like this today. I was kind of hesitant to see if we were going to even have an installation this year with all that's going on, but we struggled through it. We're here, and I thank each and every one of you for showing up. I graciously want to thank the Grand Master for coming and doing our installation today, the officers, and myself. It's an honor to have you in our lodge at all times. You've been such a good friend of this lodge over the years, and we're here at your disposal. Grand Master, if you need anything this year, please feel free to call on us.
Thank you, Worshipful Master.
I'd like to thank a few people, if you don't mind. I know everybody's probably ready to get out of here on a Sunday afternoon, but there's a few people that helped me get here, quite a few actually, but I'll keep the list short. But my wife Margie over there has really stood by me throughout this whole journey. And yes, it did start on a country road in West Virginia a long time ago. She's been very, very understanding. When I got active in this lodge again, she knew that I don't do anything that I don't jump in head first. And so she knew that Monday nights I was going to be here at the officers' practice. Thursday night I'm going to be at the lodge. And I couldn't be here, to be honest with you, without her support. And I promise you, when I was junior warden, you wouldn't eat as good as if she wouldn't have supported me that year too. So it was very important to have her there. But I'd like to thank the junior past master of Dallas Lodge, number 182. Works for Brother Ralph Letro. He's had a rough year with this year, and I'm sure that a lot of his plans were cut short, but he made the best of it, and he got us through it. That's a great job on his part. I'd like to thank the officers and the members of Dallas Lodge for entrusting me with this position. I do not take it lightly. I laid in bed last night thinking really what this meant to me, and as a study of history as I am, I really enjoy things that have a history. And the fact that this lodge has been here since 1853, there's been a lot of men that have sat in this chair, and I'm just very honored to occupy it for this upcoming year. It's almost overwhelming sometimes to think what the men that have sat in these chairs in this lodge and have done for this community, and I'm very, very humbled to be here. As I say, my journey started a long time ago in West Virginia on a country road, and it was actually started because of my father, I guess. And he's unable to be here, but I think he's watching out there on YouTube land. I hope he is. But he was instrumental in getting me started in this fraternity 34 years ago, and I'm very grateful for him and his answering the door when I knocked on it. It was just a great honor for me to sit in the East and have him see it. So that wouldn't be possible without Jim Robinson, the guy that's kind of hiding there in the stands there. But he's made this possible to showcase this to the world. I look out in this crowd. There's a lot of people out here that have become family because of this fraternity. And I'm very blessed to have them in my life. And I think back before I got active in this fraternity, what I would be without these men and women in my life. And I'm very honored. There's a lot of good people out there that have helped me along, and I'm just grateful for them. Each and every day, this fraternity provides me with the people that I see. I'd like to thank Worshipful Brother Johnny Cosby there for stalking me up and down the East-West Connector 6 years ago. I'd be driving to work, and he'd see the emblems on my car. He'd honk his horn at me and wave at me and roll his window down. Where do you belong to the lodge at? Where do you belong to the shrine at? And I said, well, everything's still in West Virginia. I left there years ago to get a job, and I left everything there. He said, well, if you're ever ready to get active, give me a call. He threw his business card in my window. And as I filled out my dues checks that year in December, I told Margie, I said, I think I'm going to give this guy a call. And I did. And he's helped me along a lot here. So I owe a great debt of gratitude to Worship Brother Johnny Cosby.
Glad to see you in these, sir.
But it's been a good ride so far, and I'm sure it'll be even better. But I'm glad to have him on my side. As far as this lodge, I couldn't ask for a better group of officers. Honestly, we're very blessed to have a good group of men in this lodge, and I look forward to this year. My promise to you is to do the best I can and always think of the fraternity. I love history, and like I said, we started in 1853. If you know me, you know I love bluegrass music, and I play a Martin guitar, and they started in 1833, 20 years before us. And for the first time this year, Martin Guitar Company is going to be headed by someone who's not an actual with the name of Martin. And they asked Chris Martin what he thought about turning the company over that's been in business since 1833 to a non-family member. And then when they found a CEO of the company, he said, well, I'll tell him the first rule of being a CEO is don't screw up. And so that's kind of what I was thinking about 11:30 last night in bed. Don't screw up. So hopefully it'll be a good year for us. But I'm just, like I said, very honored to be here. And I really would not be in this position if it wasn't for, I don't know where he went to, Worship Brother Eddie Gurley. There he is. He's worked diligently over the last few years to get West Virginia masonry out of my head. And I know it's been a struggle.
Been a long dirt road.
Rugged road. I was raised in 1987 in O'Brien Lodge, number 101, F&AM. And I had 3 good coaches. I guess they thought I was kind of dumb or stubborn-headed. They gave me 3 coaches, 3 good ones. And they either did a really good job, Brother Eddie, or I'm still pretty stubborn. I don't know which one it is.
They did a good job.
But I'll let it slip out every now and then. But I'm sure I'll be asking for his guidance throughout this year to help keep me straight into Georgia Mason. I want to thank our Tyler back there, Worship Brother Chuck Mabery. He's worked with me a lot, just as much as Eddie, to get this right in my head, so I couldn't do it without him. But it's been just a great ride to this point, and I'm very, very grateful to be here. And I'll do my best for this fraternity. My promise to the officers that are behind me is, with God's grace, I hope to be on the sidelines supporting you as you supported me on my journey. So, Margie, that means I'll still be here on Mondays and I'll still be here on Thursdays. So, but I hope to see each and every one of you make your journey to this chair. With that, I'm going to try to cut it short. We're going to keep it kind of short today. There'll be some bluegrass music somewhere here after a while. It was the Band of Brothers. We don't pass up a good excuse to pick. Matter of fact, we don't even pass up a bad excuse to pick. But this is a good excuse. And speaking of them, I fell into a group of men that I play music with who just all happen to belong to the Masonic Lodge. And I'm really humbled to be part of them. Good men, good musicians, and we have a lot of fun together. And that's something else that was opened up to me, I think, because of the Masonic fraternity. So, with that, I'm going to sit down and shut up, and I think I'd like to recognize my officers really quick, if you don't mind, because this is as much of their day as it is anybody's. I'd like to start back here with our Tyler. Worship Brother Chuck, if you would, please rise and give us your name. Tell us about yourself just real quick.
Worshipful Master, Chuck Mabery, and I'm currently serving as Tyler again this year, and it is an honor to serve under you, Brother Tim. And I'm glad you made it to the East, and you have my full support. Anything you choose to do. Thank you, Worshipful.
Thank you, Brother Chuck. We'll go over to our third steward. Let's have one. We'll start with Brother Terry. Stand up and tell us about yourself and your family you may have here with you.
Terry Jean Butterworth. This is my wife, Donna. I was raised here in February this year. It was a long road getting here through the COVID, and I want to thank Brother Chuck, awesome teacher, got us to where we're at. And congratulations, Worshipful Master, and looking forward to his year.
Thank you, Brother Terry. Our junior steward over here, Brother Jessie.
Thank you, Worshipful. My name is Jessie. I don't have any family here today. I was raised with Brother Terry as well, and this is my first officer position, so I hope I don't let you down.
I have to disagree with you. You got a lot to do,
To our junior deacon, junior steward, I start out. Senior steward, I'll get it straight.
From this side of
It is. Everything's backwards right now.
What was the guy Mark said?
That's right.
Working for my name, Casey Cole. I was raised in 2017. That's my beautiful wife Heather and my handsome son Rowan. I'm looking forward to this year too. Anything you need, anything I can do, I'll be more than glad to do anything I can. Congratulations, and look forward to it.
Thank you, Brother Casey. Now to our junior deacon.
Worshipful Master Joshua Vinnacombe. I'm serving as junior deacon this year. I have my beautiful wife Ashley Vinnacombe here with me, and a lot of my church family has come and supported everybody in our church today, so I appreciate them. I was raised in 2019, and it's a pleasure to be able to serve under you, Brother Tim. I've waited for this time quite some, and I'm glad you made it. Thank you, Worshipful.
Thank you, Brother Trump. My senior deacon.
Worshipful Master, my name is Matthew Rollins. I'm the senior deacon for this year. My wife and son couldn't join me today, but I really appreciate the fact that all of you braved the COVID and came out today. So thank you all for being here.
To our chaplain.
Master, it's an honor to serve you this year as chaplain, and I've got my wife with me, my beautiful wife Kathy, and my granddaughter Caitlin, and then as Brother Josh alluded to, I have my church family here, a lot of them that I consider just as much my family as I do my real family. I love them to death. But Worshipful Master, I hope I serve you in any way I can this year. And I'd like to say one thing, I won't ever forget that Saturday we went to the children's home. When we come back home, me and Margie, and the way that affected us, and the way we love those children, and the way you love those children. I thank you for all the years you worked with them. Hope that you have a good year.
Thank you, Worship Brother Rick. Our junior warden.
Worshipful Master, just like to say congratulations and look forward to the coming year. I want to say thank you to the Lodge for finding the confidence in me to elect me to this station. I was raised in 2017, and my wife is not able to be here, but I do believe she is also watching on YouTube. So, again, it's going to be a great year, and I'm just honored to serve you and the rest of the brethren here. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Brother Gerad. To our senior warden there in the west.
Worshipful Master. My name is Garrett Gurley. I'm currently serving as senior warden, and like Ricky and Josh, I can reasonably say with confidence we can take out this corner here and say, and then some, and say they came to get some, and then even then some. And say they came here to support us and everybody else here. But start from the top to the bottom to keep it short. So we have my grandmother, Nanny, Ann Gurley, who's past worthy matron here at the Puerto Rican Star Chapter. Brother Gene Penny, my dad, Worship Brother Eddie Gurley, my mama, Susie Gurley, my brother, Worship Brother Matt Gurley, my sister-in-law, Ashley Gurley, my niece, little Kate Gurley, And lastly but not leastly, my wife, Chaplain Gurley. I look forward to serving you this year.
Thank you, Brother Garrett. It is, that's the Gurley corner over there. Since we're in the Gurley corner, let's get Worship Brother Eddie Gurley, Grand Chaplain of Everest, the Grand Lodge of Georgia, to stand up and tell us about himself.
Well, I was raised with red carpet, pink pews, and white paneling, so I've been here a little while. But if I can give back to Masonry what Masonry has given to me, I've got the rest of my life to try. We are extremely blessed at Dallas Lodge to have the caliber of men and Masons we have. I'll pick on our Grand Master. He's been in more lodges than anybody I know the last 7 or 8 years. I think he'll vouch for that. But it's an honor to serve any way I can. At this time of year, I have a lot of reminiscing to do. A few years ago, before we had these church pews, we had theater seats. Probably they made the 20s or 30s, and when you sat beside Brother Tim in one of those seats, you felt like you were sheltered. Buddy, I sat beside him every chance I got. There's a lot to draw on there. He's a man of great wisdom, and I look forward to serving him. And brother, all I got to say, first year we hit hard every Monday night. All of you is a new chair. All of you got something new to learn. Maybe I can remember how to teach it to you, especially Brother Matthew. I look forward to that great challenge. I'll probably have more fun out of him than they do. Ladies, when we come here on Monday night, I want you to understand that we're here as men should be. It is nothing for us to hear something in the lodge, and before we leave, kneel right there and pray for whatever it is at somebody's home. I want you to understand that. We do that. And it's just, again, it's an honor to be part of that. Brother Tim, you know, if there's anything I can do for you this year, you let me know and I'll tell Chuck to get it done.
Thank you, Worship Brother Eddie. I've enjoyed our time together over the last few years, and I look forward to many more years of serving this lodge with you. We wouldn't be as good as we are if it wasn't for Worship Brother Eddie. He keeps us out of the ditches and keeps us going straight. We're very blessed to have the lodge we have. If you listen to the officers that stood up, a lot of them are young men, and they've become Masons. They're young Masons in the last 2 or 3 years, and they see something they want to be part of, and that's what it's all about for all of us here at this lodge. We're just very blessed, and we've got some good seniority here that keeps us straight, but we've got the eagerness of the youth, so we're very blessed there. I'd like to thank Worship Brother Matt Gurley for serving as my chaplain today. And if you ate downstairs, it was because of him. He's the one that provided the meal, so thank you for that, Worship Brother Matt Gurley. He called me up and said, Brother Tim, can I take that off your plate? I said, yes, you sure can. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful you see these. Like I said, Jim Robinson is a newly elected candidate for Dallas Lodge. When we can start working again, we plan to bring him into the fold here. And there's a couple men running around taking pictures that have come, and I'm grateful for them. Worship Brother Tom Lefford and Worship Brother Ed Lamore somewhere. There he is. He showed up here. Everybody's very appreciative of that. Worship Brother Tom will actually be setting up downstairs afterwards to take some portraits if you'd like to have a portrait made. I'd like to get all of my officers to take a quick portrait, if you don't mind, before we leave. I'd also like, if you'd like, if you want to have some portraits taken of you and your family or someone there, he'll gladly do that. He's volunteered services there. Worship Brother Eddie Gurley, I'm going to call on you, if you would, to make some presentations for the lodge.
Okay.
Worshipful Brother Ralph Letrum, will you present yourself west of the Holy Altar?
What do you do, right?
Didn't know it was going to take that long. First, Brother Ralph, on behalf of the officers and the members here of Dallas Lodge, we thank you for your leadership throughout this year. We know that your year has kind of been cut short a little bit because of the circumstances, and we just want you to know we're grateful for what you did and everything that we accomplished, which was quite a bit when you stand back and look at it. And we thank you for that. We'll present you this gavel and this plaque to hang on your wall and look at with pride, look back on the year that you had.
Thank you, Worshipful. Just real quick, granted this has been an unprecedented year. I know that kind of felt like I was only serving part-time, but it still ended up being a full-time job. And you are correct. We did a lot this year, even though we only got up here half the year. A lot was done, and I want to thank you for your guidance. You and I talked quite a bit this year, and your wisdom and ideas and suggestions that you gave to me were wonderful, and I really appreciate that, brother.
Thank you. You'll stand right there. Worship Brother Andy Gurley has something for you.
You raised from 14.
13.
2013, Brother Ralph was raised a Master Mason. We learned that his father was in the Grand Lodge line of Tennessee. So we tried to make something a little special. We wanted to have a master's degree, so I would have it on Saturday morning. We wanted to make it pretty big. So we set out to invite some Grand Masters to be with us that morning. And you could talk to our most worshipful Grand Master. A Saturday after October is pretty hard to come up with, to have a Grand Master with you. We come on the Saturday after Thanksgiving because we didn't figure anybody to have him booked. He was available. We started promoting that. And we was told all over, you won't have anybody there that day. You won't have anybody there that day. You won't have anybody there that day. That morning came, we had 4 Grand Masters seated in the east. And we had people on top of the piano, on top of I think there was 146 and 153 and 160 something lodges represented. So we got Brother Ralph off to a grand start. He's progressed through the chairs. No one could have imagined when we stood here this time last year what was going to happen. No one could imagine how we would deal with it. I've got to tell this. Some of my people tell me I got a story for everything. When COVID hit, I was scared to death, I'll be honest with you. I didn't want to do anything. And when it first hit, everybody was still going, and Brother Ralph called me, I'm at work. He said, what do you think about practicing Monday night? I said, Worshipful Master, that's your call. You do anything you want to. I'll stand behind any decision you make, but I will not be there. And I wouldn't, was it?
No, you weren't.
Was you? No, I'm not good with you. But that got off to a terribly rough start. And I don't know if I could have handled that job as well as what Brother Ralph did. We got a new sign on front of the lodge that was put up this past year. We done some stuff for healthcare workers during the middle of COVID. We got Zoom meetings going. We survived. Look around you. We done okay. We done okay. COVID's live, but we are too. And I think you have a lot to do with that. And under the circumstances, I think you've done a great job. You got 3 candidates raised. Some lodges never get 3 raised. My gosh, we've done put them to work. Mm-hmm. So that's commendable. But at this time, in every installation, you're presented with a past master's apron. Don't y'all think that's pretty? You know why I think it's pretty? The first one was given out in 1989. This time. Guess who got it? We changed aprons that year, and anyway, we got that. But I'm very proud. I think it's as pretty as you'll find. But I want you to understand something. It says presented, Worshipful Ralph Douglas Electron, Master 2020, by Dallas Lodge 182 F&AM. Now I want you to look on there. Does that say retirement anywhere?
Sure doesn't.
No. I want you to understand, because you've progressed through these cheers, you have gained wisdom and knowledge and experience that others do not have yet. And it's not for you to carry that home and keep it. It's for you to be back up here and share it and help these brothers as they have helped you. Too many times we get these and they're put in the trunk and we don't see a past master again. But we expect you to be here and help these brothers as they've helped you. That's all we ask, other than you wear this with the same purity you wore that white apron we give you in 2013. And here's an apron, of course this family had. Here's an apron case that can be improved upon greatly. That's a great gift from the family. And I mean, this is too pretty to carry around. There's a plastic bag always come in if you want to carry that with you home too. But I'll tell you, I'm so proud of you, Brother Ralph. Appreciate everything you've done.
Oh, thank you, Brother.
Is that thing for your goal or mine? Yours. Well, he gonna wear it now. He gonna wear it.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to know if he sleeps in it tonight. Or then back to the lodge.
It don't hurt unless you get hung up on these hooks, right?
Yeah.
Don't wear that like an earring. It just don't feel good. Are you gonna shake out what you want?
I do want to say something real quick. You know, like Brother Tim said, you know, it was his dad that got him started, and as Brother Eddie said, you know, my dad was in the Grand Line Lodge in the state of Tennessee, and in order to become a Mason, you have to know one. And living here in Georgia, I haven't been here too long. Well, I guess probably about 10 years or so. I didn't know anybody, so my dad, he said, "Hey, I got someone I want you to talk to." And Brother Eddie gave me a call, and he and I talked several times, I believe, for quite a while each time. You know, just talking about things. And I came up here, and he sat me down and said, "Here's our roster book, and go through here and see if you know anybody." And you would think if you've lived here, you know, 10, 12 years, you know, there'd be somebody in this book that you would know, because all the Dallas had 200-something members. And unfortunately, I didn't know a soul. Not a single person. And I told Brother Ed, I said, "I don't know anybody." He said, "Well, unfortunately, you're going to have to come visit us then." He said, "We can't just, you know, grant you membership. You're going to have to come visit us for an entire year, 12 months. And after that 12 months, we'll evaluate it, and you know, if we're in accord, we'll proceed with petitioning." So I came up here every meeting for 12 months and got to know these brethren, and they're family, and that's what this fraternity does. There's no place you can go and not run into a Mason. And if you ever need anything, they'll be there for you. I just want to thank every one of you for the confidence that you had in me this year. I love each and every one of you. And if you need anything, I'm here. Just give me a call. Thank you.
Well, Jane, you have some men that accompany you today. Would you like to recognize them?
I would love to, Worshipful Master. My pleasure to get to appoint some officers to serve with me, and two of them are here today. Have Worshipful Brother Rusty Coral, who is serving as Grand Marshal. Have Worshipful Brother Jim Childers, serving as our Grand Pilot. Also have Worshipful Brother Matt Gurley, who is serving as District Deputy to the Grand Master again this year. Thank you for taking that, Brother Matt.
First Master, that's the guys that came with me.
Or maybe here.
Thanks. We're glad to have them here too, so we'll make sure we get everybody recognized. Well, I don't have a whole lot more to say. I'm sure I will throughout the year. There's, I'll open it up if anybody has anything that they'd like to get off their chest. Now's the time. But,
Where's the master?
I knew, brother. I knew without a shadow of a doubt you had something you wanted to say. So please stand up and tell us.
Excuse me for speaking after the Grand Master. I think I'm out of order. But I just like to say I think just about all these brethren move up. But I just want to tell you, Worshipful Master, not that I had anything against the other chaplain, but you couldn't have picked a better chaplain instead of Georgia. But Ricky Watt. Thank you.
Worshipful Master, just for just a moment, of course, about everybody in here that knows Tim knows me. And we've enjoyed a really good friendship in the last few years since we met. But this all come kind of quick. Brother Eddie just approached me in the dining room downstairs a while ago, and he said, "I want you to get up there and sing something for Tim while he's parading around the room, something about dirt roads in West Virginia and all this and everything." So the country road thing come to mind and just did a little bit of that. It was very unrehearsed. But I'm going to work on something. Me and Brother Rusty was talking about this earlier. In a few months, I'm going to come back and get up here and sing "Man of Constant Sorrow." Up here today. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Worshipful Doug here. Well, if you didn't notice it downstairs a little while ago, that there's some really good desserts. Some of the ladies of the lodge prepared, and it'd be a shame if them got wasted. So I hope you'll all hang around afterwards and share those desserts. Take some home if you like. Like I said, that we'll probably break out a little picking party here somewhere in a little bit. If you like bluegrass, you're welcome to stay. If you don't like bluegrass, we'll try to convince you to like it. So there's nothing else I'd like to say other than just thank you. Thank you each and every one for coming. Thank you for being here. It's a blessing. I don't have a lot of family in Georgia. I have none that I know of other than my lovely wife. I look out in this crowd and I see a lot of family that I've acquired in the last few years. So I thank you for that.
Here, dear Lord, thank you for you want to come out here today, dear God. I ask you to watch over them, bless them, and keep them safe, dear Lord. Thank you for each lodge that's been represented here tonight, dear Lord. Just be with them and their lodges grow and just watch over them during this pandemic, dear Lord. Lord, be Brother Tim, dear God. I ask you to just put a hedge of protection around him and Marty. Give him what he stands in need of, dear God. Let him always turn to you for leadership and guidance, dear Lord. Let him be the man you desire him to be. Lord, I just thank you for this lodge and the people that's in it. Thank you for every brother that's here, dear God. I love each and every one of them. I ask you to go with us when we leave this place, dear, be with the Grand Master and his Grand Lodge officers, dear Lord. Watch over them as they travel. Give them travel and mercy, dear God. We just love you and we praise you for all that you've done for us. In Jesus' sweet name I pray. Amen.